A 128-year-old ship has been located at the bottom of Lake Huron, confirming the tragic story surrounding its fate.
Many planes take flight and numerous ships sail, but not all reach their destination.
The Star Tiger had disappeared without any explanation why.
Some, like the ones we have in today's video, mysteriously disappeared, and for decades no one knew what happened.
This is one awfully abandoned sailboat, Wolfhound from the Irish Yacht Club.
Until now. These are creepy discoveries that shocked the whole world.
Separated by a significant distance.
Deep in the Red Sea, off the coast of Aqaba, Jordan, lies an unusual wreck, a Lockheed L-1011 TriStar airliner. Unlike most wrecks, this one didn't crash, but was deliberately sunk in 2017 to form an artificial reef. Over the years, the ocean has transformed the aircraft into a thriving marine habitat. Despite being underwater, the plane remains eerily intact. Divers can explore its hollow fuselage, peer into the cockpit, and even glide past the empty passenger seats. Coral and marine life have taken over, with schools of fish weaving through the wreck. It's a haunting yet mesmerizing dive site, where nature and aviation history merge in the depths of the Red Sea. Vanishing plane. On July 2nd, 1955, Pan Am Flight 914, a Douglas DC-4, took off from New York, heading for Miami with 57 passengers and 5 crew members. Somewhere mid-flight, the plane simply vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, just gone. For decades, it was assumed lost. But then, on September 9th, 1992, something unbelievable happened. Air traffic controllers in Caracas, Venezuela reportedly picked up a strange blip on their radar. Moments later, a plane materialized out of nowhere. The pilot, sounding disoriented, contacted the tower, claiming they were en route to Miami back in 1955. When told the current year, he panicked, hastily taxied the aircraft down the runway, and took off again, disappearing into thin air. No official records confirm this incident, but the legend persists. Some say it slipped through a time warp. Others believe extraterrestrial intervention. The only thing certain is that Flight 914's mystery refuses to fade, defying logic and fueling theories of lost time, parallel dimensions, and the unknown forces lurking in our skies. Lost wreck. Resting deep in the waters of Truk Lagoon, the San Francisco Maru is a frozen relic of war. Launched in 1919, this Japanese cargo ship met its fate in 1944 when U.S. aircraft bombed and sank it during Operation Hailstone. Now, 65 meters below the surface, the wreck remains eerily intact, its wartime cargo still on board. Battle tanks, trucks, torpedoes, and munitions. Dubbed the $1 million wreck, it offers divers a haunting glimpse into the past, with rusting military vehicles scattered across its deck like ghosts of another era. The silence of the deep makes it even more surreal, as if time stopped the moment it went down. While no gold or riches lie within, the San Francisco Maru is a priceless historical treasure, preserving the echoes of a war long gone. Fall from heavens. On December 24, 1971, Lanza Flight 508 departed Lima, Peru for Pucallpa, carrying 91 passengers and crew. The journey should have been routine, but fate had other plans. As the Lockheed L-188 Electra soared over the Amazon, a sudden lightning strike shattered the sky. Within seconds, the aircraft disintegrated, sending its passengers hurtling toward the dense rainforest below. Amid the chaos, 17-year-old Julianne Kepke remained strapped to her seat, free-falling nearly 2 miles before plummeting into the jungle canopy. Against all logic, she survived. Dazed and alone, she wandered the rainforest for 11 days, enduring insect bites, infections, and exhaustion. Guided by a survival instinct instilled by her scientist parents, she followed a stream, leading her to rescue. The disaster raised unsettling questions. While lightning strikes rarely bring down planes, Flight 508's destruction seemed almost unnatural. Investigators confirmed the airline's poor safety record, but found no concrete answers beyond the electrical storm. The sole survivor, a girl who stared the Grim Reaper in the eyes and managed to walk away, only deepened the mystery. Did chance, fate, or something beyond comprehension spare her? The wreckage remains lost in the jungle, swallowed by time, along with the truth behind Lanza Flight 508. Triangle's Phantom. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops, a colossal U.S. Navy cargo ship, embarked on its final voyage, carrying over 300 crew members and a heavy load of manganese ore from Barbados to Baltimore. The journey was uneventful, until it wasn't. On March 4th, the ship transmitted its last routine message. Then, silence. No distress signals. No wreckage. No survivors. The Cyclops had vanished into thin air. Desperate searches were launched, but the Atlantic offered no clues. Not a single piece of debris surfaced, and even with modern sonar scans, the ship remains lost. Some suspect structural failure due to its overloaded cargo. Others whisper of sabotage, pointing to Lieutenant Commander George W. Worley, rumored to have German sympathies during World War I. But the most chilling theory links the disappearance to the Bermuda Triangle, where countless vessels have allegedly met unexplained fates. A ship that size doesn't just vanish, unless something beyond understanding was at play. More than a century later, the USS Cyclops remains one of history's greatest maritime mysteries, swallowed by the sea or by forces unknown. Vanishing Tiger. On January 30th, 1948, the Star Tiger, a British Avro Tudor IV airliner, took off from Santa Maria in the Azores, heading toward Bermuda. On board were 31 passengers and 6 crew members. The flight had been delayed due to strong winds, forcing it to fly at a dangerously low altitude to avoid turbulence. Despite these challenges, communication remained normal until suddenly it didn't. As the aircraft approached Bermuda, it vanished without a trace. No distress call, no wreckage, nothing. The disappearance occurred within the notorious Bermuda Triangle, adding fuel to existing legends of unexplained vanishings. Some suggest a catastrophic mechanical failure, while others entertain wilder theories: magnetic anomalies, time warps, or even extraterrestrial interference. The search efforts yielded no clues. Not a single fragment of the aircraft was ever recovered, leaving investigators completely baffled. How could an entire plane vanish so completely? Even today, the Star Tiger remains one of aviation's most haunting enigmas. Ghost Yacht. In April 2007, the Kaz II, a 9.8-meter catamaran, departed from Airlie Beach, Australia, on what should have been a routine journey. On board were experienced sailors, Derek Batten and brothers Peter and James Tunstead. But 5 days later, the vessel was found eerily adrift near the Great Barrier Reef. A rescue team boarded, expecting to find signs of distress. Instead, they found an unsettling scene. The table was set for a meal, a laptop sat open, and the engine was still running. Life jackets remained untouched. The only thing missing? The crew. Despite an extensive search, no trace of the 3 men was ever found. Theories ran wild. Some believed a rogue wave swept them overboard. Others speculated that something more sinister had unfolded. The weather had been calm, making their disappearance even more baffling. With no evidence of foul play or distress, the case was eventually closed. But the Kaz II remains a modern ghost ship, drifting in the minds of those who still wonder what really happened in those final moments. Haunting disappearance.
The mysterious disappearances of ships and planes are perhaps what the Bermuda Triangle is best known for.
Canadian pilot simply disappeared in the fog and was never seen again.
In December 1945, 5 U.S. Navy TBM Avenger bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on what should have been a routine training flight. The squadron, known as Flight 19, never returned. As they flew into the infamous Bermuda Triangle, a vast stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, something went terribly wrong. Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the flight leader, reported that his compasses had failed. The pilots grew disoriented, struggling to find their way back to base.
My compasses are out. I'm trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Radio transmissions grew frantic, with Taylor's voice filled with confusion. Then, silence. The planes vanished without a trace. A rescue seaplane was sent to search for them, but it, too, disappeared. Despite massive search efforts, no wreckage was ever found. The eerie disappearance of Flight 19 remains one of aviation's greatest mysteries, fueling theories of supernatural forces, magnetic anomalies, and time warps within the Bermuda Triangle. Haunting ship. In early 1921, the five-masted schooner Carroll A. Deering departed Barbados, bound for Virginia with a full crew and a hold full of coal. But as it neared the infamous Diamond Shoals off Cape Hatteras, it vanished from communication. Days later, the U.S. Coast Guard discovered the ship run aground, eerily intact, but completely abandoned. The crew was gone, lifeboats missing, yet the cargo, food, and personal belongings remained untouched. No signs of struggle, no distress signals. The ship's last log entries, penned by Captain Willis B. Wormel, spoke of being followed by unidentified vessels. Then silence. Speculation ran wild. Piracy? Mutiny? A Bermuda Triangle-like anomaly? Some whisper of a secret government cover-up. Others claim supernatural forces were at play. Was Carroll A. Deering lured into a ghostly fate? No remains, no wreckage of lifeboats. Nothing was ever found. The case officially closed in 1922, but the mystery lingers, drifting like the ship itself into the unknown. Lost Arctic Expedition. In the icy depths of Canada's Arctic waters, researchers uncovered an astonishing piece of history, one of the lost ships from John Franklin's doomed 1845 expedition. Franklin and his 129-man crew set sail aboard HMS Erebus and HMS Terror to chart the Northwest Passage, but they vanished after becoming trapped in unforgiving ice. For over 170 years, their fate remained one of history's most chilling mysteries. Then, in 2014 and 2016, both ships were finally discovered, astonishingly well preserved beneath the frozen sea. The wreckage revealed haunting details. The ship's wheel, officers' cabins, and even personal belongings were nearly untouched by time. The extreme cold had sealed this moment in history, leaving behind eerie clues about the crew's desperate final days. Some believe starvation and illness sealed their fate, while others whisper of something even darker, as suggested by recovered remains. Survivor of the Deep. In December 1941, the British submarine HMS Perseus met disaster when it struck an Italian mine off the coast of Kefalonia, Greece. The explosion sent the vessel plunging to the seafloor, claiming the lives of 60 crew members. Miraculously, one man survived, John Capes, a stoker on board. Against all odds, he managed to escape through an emergency hatch, using a breathing device to make the perilous swim to the surface. After reaching the shore of Kefalonia, he was taken in by locals who risked their lives to hide him from enemy forces. For 18 months, Capes evaded capture before finally making his way to safety. Today, the wreck of the Perseus rests at a depth of 52 meters, still remarkably intact. Divers exploring the site can see the remains of the doomed submarine, a chilling reminder of one of the war's most incredible survival stories. Lake's Metal Ghost.
A 128-year-old ship has been located at the bottom of Lake Huron, confirming the tragic story surrounding its fate.
A routine filming expedition in Lake Huron turned into a shocking discovery when two filmmakers stumbled upon a 128-year-old shipwreck resting eerily beneath the surface. The vessel, named Africa, vanished in 1895 while carrying cargo from Ashtabula, Ohio to Owen Sound, Ontario. Lost to the depths for over a century, the ship's fate remained a mystery. Until now. Amazingly, the wreck is remarkably well preserved, thanks to invasive mussels coating its surface. While these mussels threaten ecosystems, their ability to filter water has created crystal clear conditions, revealing the ship in haunting detail. Africa now rests like a ghost frozen in time, offering a rare glimpse into history beneath the lake's silent, watchful waters. Ancient discovery. Off the coast of Genoa, Italian fishermen unknowingly pulled up fragments of history, ancient pottery tangled in their nets. This accidental discovery led to an astonishing find lurking 60 meters below the waves, a 2,000-year-old Roman shipwreck, perfectly preserved beneath the sea. Police divers and underwater robots explored the wreck, revealing hundreds of amphorae, clay jars once used to transport olive oil and wine. Even more astonishing, some were still sealed, their contents untouched for centuries. This ship, likely lost during a treacherous voyage, now serves as a time capsule, offering a glimpse into ancient Mediterranean trade. The eerie stillness of the wreck, undisturbed for 2 millennia, raises questions. Did the crew escape, or were they claimed by the sea? Hidden beneath the waters for so long, this forgotten relic has finally surfaced, whispering secrets of Rome's vast maritime empire. Hollow sail.
We're towing a 48-foot boat with a 42-foot boat. This boat is longer and is definitely heavier than my boat.
Drifting aimlessly in the vast Atlantic, the Wolfhound lay abandoned, a ghostly vessel lost at sea. In 2013, the Ocean Research Project stumbled upon the eerie site, floating 800 miles from Bermuda. Matt Rutherford, one of the researchers, cautiously boarded the sailboat.
This is one awfully abandoned sailboat, Wolfhound from the Irish Yacht Club.
Expecting signs of disaster. Instead, he found the interior in disarray, but mostly intact. Personal belongings remained scattered, yet the ship itself bore no visible damage.
When just this morning I woke up on a 42-foot Calvin Gazelle, and here I am.
The only issue? Its engine wasn't working.
For a sailboat in the water, it's not going anywhere, sail's not up, motor's not on.
Deciding to tow the mysterious derelict, the team soon realized their mistake.
We're towing a 48-foot boat with a 42-foot boat. This boat is longer and is definitely heavier than my boat.
The strain was too great, and their own vessel's engine failed, forcing them to cut the Wolfhound loose.
We had to cut the boat free as the line wrapped around our rudder, threatening to break it off.
As they released footage of their find, the truth surfaced. Alan McGettigan, an Irish sailor, had owned the boat. He and his crew had been rescued after their engine failure, but the vessel was left adrift. 9 weeks later, the Wolfhound was still out there, riding the waves like a phantom. Where it drifted after that remains unknown, adding yet another chapter to the ocean's countless mysteries.
We had to cut the boat free as the line wrapped around our rudder, threatening to break it off.
Vanishing crew. Adrift in the Atlantic, untouched and intact, yet eerily abandoned. In 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York, bound for Italy under the command of Captain Benjamin Briggs. A month later, the British ship Dei Gratia stumbled upon it, floating aimlessly. Everything on board was in place, cargo secure, provisions untouched, and even the crew's belongings undisturbed. But the crew? Gone without a trace. The ship's last log entry gave no hint of trouble. There were no signs of struggle, no damage, no distress signals, just an empty deck and silence. Theories ranged from pirate attacks to violent storms or even seaquakes, yet nothing fit. Some even whispered of supernatural forces, ghostly abductions, or an unexplained mass panic. No lifeboats were found, and the crew was never seen again. More than a century later, the fate of the Mary Celeste remains one of the most chilling maritime mysteries, a ghost ship drifting forever in the depths of legend. Wrecking find. In 2022, divers stumbled upon the wreck of the Plavi Jadran near Pervich Island, lying eerily still beneath the waves. Though it sank in 2018, the ship looks like it has been trapped underwater for decades. At just 20 meters deep, it rests in crystal clear waters, its corroding structure now home to vibrant marine life. Schools of fish drift through its skeletal remains, while corals slowly claim the wreck as their own. With a steady temperature of 21 degrees Celsius, the ship has transformed into an underwater time capsule, frozen in a silent, haunting beauty. The Adriatic has taken it, but the mystery lingers. What stories still remain locked within its rusting hull? Watery grave.
You won't find bodies at Titanic. You won't find skeletons. The bones actually dissolve into solution very rapidly at that depth. What anybody who's explored the wreck finds.
In July 1986, Robert Ballard and his team descended 12,500 feet into the Atlantic, coming face to face with history. The Titanic, lost for decades, lay shattered on the ocean floor. 1 year after its discovery, time had already begun its slow work, the ship's metal corroding, its structure breaking apart. The bow and stern, torn from each other, rested in eerie silence, surrounded by debris frozen in time. Despite the decay, the wreck still held a haunting beauty. The grand ship, once the pinnacle of luxury, now lay in the cold abyss, its remains a ghostly reminder of the night it met its fate.
When you're traveling at 21 or 22 knots and you see iceberg dead ahead, there wasn't enough time to turn.
The deep sea had claimed the Titanic, but its story refuses to fade. German Black Demise. In 2022, deep-sea divers uncovered an astonishingly well-preserved German cargo shipwreck off the coast of Ukraine in the Black Sea. Thought to have been lost during World War II, this vessel had remained hidden beneath the waves for nearly 80 years. At a depth of 70 meters, the cold, oxygen-depleted waters of the Black Sea played a key role in preserving the wreck, keeping much of its structure intact. Divers were able to observe remnants of military cargo, including crates and machinery, as well as sections of the ship's hull still standing strong. The eerie silence of the deep made the discovery even more haunting, as if time had frozen around this forgotten wartime relic. For historians and divers alike, this wreck offers a rare glimpse into a piece of history that had long been lost to the depths. Ellen Mystery. The Ellen Austin was sailing through the Bermuda Triangle when her crew spotted something unsettling, a ship drifting without direction. For 2 days, Captain John Baker tried to make contact, but no response came. Finally, he and his crew boarded the vessel, expecting to find answers. Instead, they discovered a ship in perfect condition, fully stocked with supplies, yet completely abandoned. Not wanting to leave it behind, Baker assigned a crew to sail it back. But just days later, a violent storm separated the two ships. When the skies cleared, the ghostly vessel had vanished. Days later, Baker found it again, still abandoned. A second crew was sent aboard, but the same eerie fate awaited them. The ship disappeared once more, and this time it never returned. The mystery was so disturbing that the shipping company's owner, shaken by the events, decided to sell the business. To this day, no one knows what really happened, and the fate of both the lost crews and the ship remains an unsolved mystery. The legend of the Ellen Austin continues to haunt maritime history. MV Disappearance. In 1980, the MV Derbyshire, a massive British bulk carrier, disappeared in the vast Pacific Ocean without a trace. With 44 crew members aboard, the ship was last heard from near Japan during a typhoon. No distress signals, no wreckage, just silence. For years, the cause of its loss remained an unsettling mystery. 17 years later, investigators sent a remote camera 2.5 miles underwater. What they found was shocking. The wreck was torn apart, twisted metal, debris scattered over miles, and the bow and stern separated by an enormous distance.
Really torn apart. Look at that.
It looked as if the ship had been ripped open by an invisible force. After years of research, experts concluded that extreme waves and structural weaknesses may have caused the ship to break apart. However, the exact sequence of events remains unclear. The loss of the Derbyshire is still one of the most haunting maritime mysteries of all time. Sunken Fortune. Deep beneath the Atlantic, explorers uncovered a stunning relic, the SS Gersoppa, a World War II cargo ship that had been lost since 1941. Struck by a German U-boat torpedo, the vessel plunged into the ocean, taking with it a fortune in silver worth $200 million. For decades, the wreck remained hidden, resting over 4,700 meters below the surface. When it was finally found, excitement surged among historians and treasure hunters alike. Carefully, the team documented the site, capturing images of the wreck and its precious cargo. But this was more than a treasure hunt. It was a window into the past, a silent testament to the dangers of wartime shipping. As each artifact was recovered, the ship's story resurfaced, offering a rare glimpse into a long-lost chapter of history. Drifting torpedo.
It's an unusual discovery off the coastline of Orange County. A torpedo found floating in the ocean.
During a casual boating trip off Dana Point Harbor, Sean Sheehan and his girlfriend set out to spot dolphins. But what they found was far from ordinary. About 6 miles offshore, they noticed an unfamiliar object floating on the water's surface. At first, they mistook it for a surfboard, but as they got closer, they saw something startling. It had propellers. Upon further inspection, they realized they had stumbled upon an 8-foot Navy torpedo. The Orange County Sheriff's Department soon confirmed that it was a lightweight Navy exercise torpedo, and the Navy assured the public that it was not live. Despite its safe retrieval, the lingering mystery was how it ended up adrift in open waters. The Navy, maintaining some secrecy, explained that these torpedoes are regularly used in training exercises, with most being recovered. However, some occasionally go missing, lost to the currents. While this one was successfully retrieved, its long journey through the ocean remained an unsolved curiosity. Last goodbye.
Almost 9 years after being abandoned in the Indian Ocean, a yacht belonging to a teenage round-the-world sailor has turned up off southern Australia.
At just 16 years old, Abby Sunderland set out on a daring mission to become the youngest person to sail solo and unassisted around the world.
16-year-old California girl set out to make history on the high seas this weekend, becoming the youngest ever to sail around the globe alone without stopping.
For months, she battled unpredictable weather and isolation, pushing herself beyond limits. But on June 10th, 2010, disaster struck. Her yacht, Wild Eyes, capsized in the middle of the Indian Ocean, leaving her stranded between Africa and Australia. The mast was lost, and the journey was over. 2 days later, a French fishing vessel rescued her, but Wild Eyes was abandoned to the sea. For a decade, the yacht was presumed lost, claimed by the endless waves. Then, out of nowhere, Wild Eyes reappeared off the Australian coast. 12 miles south of Kangaroo Island, a passing vessel spotted the wreck, weathered, covered in barnacles, but still recognizable. News of its discovery reached Abby, bringing back memories of her perilous journey. To her, Wild Eyes wasn't just a lost boat, it was a symbol of her adventure, now making its final farewell. Now it's time for today's subscriber's pick. It's a mystery that won't rest. Amelia Earhart wasn't just a pilot, she was a force of nature. Born in 1897, she shattered expectations, carving a place for women in the male-dominated world of aviation. But Earhart wanted more. She wanted the ultimate prize, to be the first woman to fly around the world. In 1937, she set off with navigator Fred Noonan in her Lockheed Electra. It was a journey spanning 29,000 miles, crossing jungles, deserts, and the endless ocean. Everything was going as planned until July 2nd. Nearing the tiny, isolated Howland Island in the Pacific, Earhart's radio calls became desperate. She was running low on fuel. Then, silence. She and Noonan had vanished.
Messages alternating between hope and disappointment crackle from the South Seas. The search swings around the area from which her last message was received, in a desperate effort to solve the mystery of Amelia Earhart's fate.
The U.S. Navy launched an unprecedented search, combing over 250,000 square miles of ocean. Not a single trace of Earhart or her plane was found. Theories exploded. Some believe she ran out of fuel and landed into the sea. Others suggest she landed on a deserted island, surviving for a time before succumbing to the elements. More extreme theories propose that she was captured or even assumed a new identity.
We have found things on the island that we can't explain unless they came from Earhart's airplane.
In recent years, researchers have uncovered potential clues. A fragment of metal matching her plane, radio transmissions possibly sent from her aircraft, and remains on a remote Pacific island have all sparked fresh debates, but none have provided a definitive answer. Yet, the mystery refuses to be forgotten.
There is no evidence that she crashed at sea.
It was just an aircraft accident.
She returned as somebody else. Earhart survived. There's no question about it.
Thank you, people.